All right, everybody. It's a good day today. I got to, hit like and subscribe. I just hit 3,000 subs today, so we're growing again. Yay. So hit like and subscribe, share with your friends, make comments. But today I've been waiting for a few months. I have been, I went through I was playing with different Chinese clones of different knives and stuff like that. We've got a copy of one of the Microtechs. Well, actually two of them. I think that's the DOC. And that's a copy of the SOCOM Bravo. And one of them I had, which I've since given away, otherwise I would have it out here, was a $30 knockoff from Amazon of the Medford knife and tool, Praetorian. And it was in playing with that cheap imitation that I said, you know what? I want the real thing. So I put down $450, ordered it, waited for a couple months, and it has arrived. So I know how some people, including Greg Medford, feel about the Chinese clones, but you know what, Greg, if you ever watch this, buying that clone and letting me play with that knife, and then I gave it away to somebody else who just wanted a cheap knife, and he's got real big hands. I was like, here, have this. If you beat it up and break it in a year, who cares? It's free, and I only paid $30 for it. But that was the gateway drug, just as the way the Vespa OTFs were gateway drugs for me to buy a whole bunch of Microtechs, Guardian Tacticals, Hogues, and others. I bought a ton of OTFs and spent several $1,000s because I bought the $150 Chinese one. And I was like, you know what? I really like this design. I'm willing to spend the money rather than trying something and, finding out I don't like it. It's just not for me. So what do you get in the box? You get a nice box. You get a little warranty, care and maintenance guide. You get some little things here. One's a sticker and one's like a badge or emblem or something. I don't know. And then you get your certificate of creation and authenticity, which I guess is pretty cool. Lifetime warranty. This is the date that it was born on, and that is my Scout. It is a version of the Praetorian. So, any case, what do we got? Well, we got a big boy knife. Not as heavy as I was expecting. And I think that's because it's got the G10 handles. Okay, so this I kind of like. So this is a legit Medford Praetorian. Little stiff. It's going to have to break in. It's one that, even with that weight, that is really stiff. So probably need to work that a little bit and have those washers wear in. The action's really nice. Really nice machining on the blade. Perfectly centered, really nice. Glass breaker without being too obtrusive. Also could be that point of contact where you can put pressure on somebody without actually cutting and hurting them. I like that the arc of that flows with the arc of the blade. It looks seamless when that's closed. We'll open it up. All the specs you can get on the website. I'm not going to go through them all here. It's going to be just a quick overview and review. But so I went with this one because it was a couple $100 cheaper, and I like the idea of the G10. The G10 is really nicely done. It's grippy without being abrasive. It's got some good machining on there. Pocket clip is not reversible, so this is right hand only. It does have a lanyard hole, which I don't really care about. And then it's got this choil up here. Would I use it as a finger choil? Almost, but your finger is, depending on the size of your hand, I am getting close to that edge. So you will want to be mindful of that, but it does give you a really good purchase. There is no wiggle. I mean, nothing. That is a massive slab of steel. This is D2 steel. You might say, well, $450 for D2 steel is kind of pricey. Yeah, it is. But Greg does a really good job. He makes a really good product, takes pride in his work, and I'm sure the heat treat on this is phenomenal. I'm hoping that the sharpening on this, it feels wicked sharp. Let's do a simple cut test. I mean, that is effortless. That is just, yeah. Push test. Will it do a push test? Yeah, does a push test. Very, very. That is a hair-popping sharp blade. I like that Tonto with that drop point. I mean, that's a really good piercer. The tip is fairly fine. So that will pierce well, but it's actually pretty well supported on top of that. It sits in the hand, but I'll be honest, I was expecting it to be a little bit bigger, and I don't know why. I mean, I had the fake one, unless the fake one was bigger, but it doesn't feel as big and massive in your hand. I'll get some of my other large folders out here. So I've got a Victorinox Alox Hunter, so that is a legit one. I've got my Spyderco Paramilitary 2. I do have a Chinese blade, which is not a knockoff. It's just whatever their design, but that is the Petrified Fish Beluga, which is actually a really, really cool knife. K110 steel, very sharp. I mean, scalpel sharp. This is one of the sharpest knives out of the box I've had. It is just scary sharp. Really nice belly, good piercing point, nice action, ball bearings, very cool. So you can see how it stacks up against these. I mean, it is a bit bigger, but is it bigger than the Microtech copy of the DOC? Yeah, it's taller. It weighs a little bit more. What about the copy of the Microtech SOCOM Elite? Yeah, it's a little bigger. Definitely bigger than that. But you put it up against the Hunter here. You put it up against the Beluga. It's definitely bigger, but it's not massively bigger. Now, is it EDC friendly? That's a stretch. I wouldn't say that. The only thing I can say that maybe I don't like about it is when I feel how stiff this blade is. But maybe it's not really meant for one-hand opening. I mean, you can do it that way, and maybe it'll loosen up, but they're using a proprietary pivot. So hopefully that's Loctited so it doesn't loosen over time, because I don't have a way to adjust that. I'd have to go buy some tool or make something to adjust that pivot. So hopefully that just breaks in. Easy to get to the lock, decent centering and decent lock up there. I will say it's a very strong lock, which is good, but that edge is just a little bit sharp. It's a little toothy. So I think if you like to fiddle a lot, after a while pushing in like that, you're going to start chewing up the end of your thumb. You can see how it's kind of pushing in like that. It takes a good amount of pressure, so it's not really comfortable. But this is a tool. This is a tool designed for serious business. And so in that regard, is it going to be as, seamless and ball bearings and you just flip it open and there you go? No, these are EDC knives. This is a knife made to take into combat. This is a knife that if you had to stab through sheetrock or hack your way through a door or extricate yourself from a vehicle or, something really serious, that is what Greg designs his knives for. His knives. Looks really good. I like that this is lightened here. I like that it uses thin steel liners. I like that, actually, and it's only on one side, so you got a steel liner on that side, obviously, because you got to have the lock. And then the rest is G10, which takes a lot of the weight out. So now the one I had before was all steel, and Greg's used titanium, I believe. So his other ones may be just as light as this, but this is my first Medford knife, so that is just a beast. If you're going out in the woods, you're going camping, you got a shit hit the fan situation, you got anything where you think you need a serious knife, you could use something like this. And I think, your paramilitary tool will take a good amount of abuse. These are pretty beefy. I certainly think that the Alox from Victorinox here, the Hunter, that's certainly a pretty robust knife. It's got good blade stock, not overly thick, but it's steel liners over aluminum. So I think that that's going to be, pretty strong. And I think if we were talking, forget the fact that I have the clones here, if we had the actual Microtechs here, those are certainly American, those would be really strong American-made knives that would stand up to a lot of abuse. But I am hard-pressed to think of any other folding knife I have ever personally owned or handled that feels like a tank without weighing as much as a tank. It doesn't weigh that much more than these. I mean, you can notice a difference, but you could put that in a pocket, and it's not cumbersome. It's going to take up a lot of space in your pocket. It's certainly not going to just slide in effortlessly and just take up a little bit of space. That's going to take up a lot more space, right? It just is what it is. But for a knife that solid and that strong with blade stock that thick, dude, this thing is just amazing. So Greg, very glad. I know you're going to be pissed that I bought the cheap one, but hey, that's what convinced me to come and spend the money on your knife and get the legit one. And I'm glad I did, So I think that these appeal to different markets. When you look at the knockoffs, there's people that just aren't, they like the cool design, and they're just not going to spend $350 on a freaking knife, or $450, or $700, or whatever. So they want to buy this and, whatever. They're going to always open up boxes and it's probably going to last them years. You're not going to break this on any normal cutting tasks. But when you want the real deal and you want the quality and you want to give your business to, an American guy and a patriot like Greg, I recommend this. I mean, I'm going to put it through some use and see how it does over the years, but this is like heirloom type knife. These are knives you give away to your buddy because someone needs a cheap knife. But something like this is something you pass on to your kids because you know what? It's going to outlast you. That is a serious effing knife. Wow. Very, very cool. Anyway, check it out. Size does matter. As much as I've been trying to convince girls over the years that it doesn't, but apparently it does. So that is your Medford knife and tool Praetorian Scout. That's their value line. You drop down on the steel to D2, but D2 with a good coating and a good heat treat is a very good, hard, usable tool steel. And G10 over steel liners, gonna last you forever. It's a serious knife. Check it out.